They're here, Jason.
No!
That's my Jason. That's my special boy. Yes. Yes. Kill for mother. That's my good boy. Mommy has a reward for you. Come home,
I can't really put this game in backlogged because it's not really what I consider a backlogged game, but I don't want to put this in a review section either because it's not really a review of the game. So I guess we're just going to call this impressions. The game I want to talk about today is the Friday the 13th game that came out. So one thing I'll show you guys really quick, I am a huge fan of the Friday the 13th franchise. It's probably my favorite horror movie franchise of all time. As you can see on my wall here, as you can see, I have a Friday the 13th poster on my wall. Like, I'm a big fan of this franchise, of the character of Jason and everything, and I've always wanted a good Friday the 13th game. You know, obviously they made that terrible NES game, which I do own, and that's not really a good game. And the idea behind Friday the 13th, this game had a long development that I followed. It was originally started, I believe, as a Kickstarter game. And originally it was a Friday the 13th game. Then they lost the license and it was just going to be kind of a generic slasher versus counselors. I think it was called like Camp. It had like Camp something, like Camp Slayer or something like that. And then they were able to finally get back the license for Friday the 13th, which is why this game took like 4 years to come out. It is a awesome but flawed at times game. I really like what I've played of it thus far. I haven't had a chance to play with any friends yet, partially because none of my friends bought this game. It's kind of a tough sell for them. But I've enjoyed what I've played thus far, and I think it does a lot of good things. So anyways, let's dive into it. So in Friday the 13th, the game, it is an asynchronous multiplayer game where, think of like Evolve was a game that was 4v1. This game is like 7v1. So you have 8 people that get into a match. 7 of them are always going to be camp counselors, and it will pick at random. One of you will play as the character of Jason. The idea here is that the people playing as the camp counselors have to band together to escape the camp from being killed by Jason, whereas the player who's playing as Jason, your mission is to kill all of the camp counselors. One of the coolest aspects about the game is that it incorporates contextual kills, and it reminds me of that PlayStation 2 Punisher game. So when you're walking around in the environment, you can kind of walk up to somebody. If you pick up like a camp counselor, let's say, one of my favorites is there's a bird bath. You basically walk the character, you can grab them, I think with L2. I'm playing on the PS4. and you can walk that character over to the bird bath, and then you kind of smash the character down on the bird bath and then smash the bird bath over their head. So it has environmental kills like that, and there's a vast variety of them. There's also a cool thing where you can walk up to but a lot of the doorways and stuff will have knives sticking out of them, and Jason will pick them up, and you can use those to throw at enemies. Now, he has different powers, and that's always been the argument between Friday the 13th fans, is does he actually, obviously he possesses some sort of powers. But here it's interesting. The one thing I liked is after a certain point, so when you start a match, you have 4 powers. The first power that you have, you can basically pick anywhere you want to go on the map and warp to it. That's your first power. After amount of time, you unlock the second power, then the third, and then the fourth. The second power is the ability to sense where people are, and then the more fear you cause these camp counselors, the easier it is to see them in the game, and you can hunt them down. The third power is probably my favorite, and it's the ability to shift. What I like about this power is when you shift around to different areas, it reminds me of in the Evil Dead movies when there's that long thing that's always coming towards the house, and it's the long shift. You're shifting like that. It's really cool, and it's really well done. And then the fourth one is you can stalk, which I haven't honestly figured out what that does yet. You can leave a comment below telling me what it does, because I haven't figured it out yet. So I've played about 2 matches as Jason. I'm gonna be honest, I've sucked ass both times playing as Jason because I'm still learning how the game works. And then playing as camp counselor, obviously you run around, you're hiding, you can hide under beds, you can hide in closets, you can pick up weapons and kind of defend yourself against Jason. There is a way to get a shotgun which only has 1 shot. You can shoot the shotgun at him and it will stun him. You can't kill Jason, but you can stun him long enough to get away for a while. One match I literally fled Jason after he was chasing me, and then he kind of got diverted onto somebody else. I just found a random campsite at this campground with a couple tents. I hid in a tent for 20 minutes, pretty much the entire match. Never found me. And then one thing that I really like about this game is it does proximity voice chat really well. And in an age of where everybody's kind of in a party chat, either on your respective platform, you don't get a lot of games like this where you can hear other people talking. What makes Friday the 13th so unique and different, and one thing I really truly brings joy to me in this game, is a lot of people don't use party chat, they just use the game chat. So when you're playing as Jason, if you get close enough to camp counselors, you can hear these people in real time talk to each other, and it's fun to play that way, because then when you pop up first and you scare them, you might have something oh shit, he's here, and they start running away and stuff like that. It's really well done, and I really enjoy that aspect of the game. That's one thing I think the developers got really well, was that ability to have proximity voice chat in this game, and people actually use it. And in playing as camp counselor, you have to do a couple different things. You can either fix up this phone and call the police. When you call the police, it then counts down about 5 minutes, and then the exits will open up. The exits are engulfed in fog, and you can't leave until you do a couple things. One of the things, obviously, like I said, is call the police, and then after a timer runs out, you can escape. The second one is fixing up a car. There's a car, and you basically have to get gas, you have to find the keys, and you have to, and then I haven't done this method myself. One of my matches, I actually was able to jump into a car, get in it with somebody that had already fixed it up and got the gas tank, and there's one other part you need for the car, and then you can go. I got into the car with the guy, and then we just escaped. And as we're escaping, there's one girl camp counselor running toward us. He just freaking ran her over, man. And we kept going, and I thought that was funny. And then there's the boat option, which is the hardest one to do. If you've ever seen any of the Friday the 13th movies, you know at the end of the first Friday the 13th movie, Jason's in the lake, man. And Jason can swim really well in this game. And I watched a match yesterday when I was playing where I had died or whatever, and I was just watching the end of the match. This girl went through the thing, got the propeller, got the gas, fixed up the boat. She only made it about halfway, and Jason popped up and killed her in the water. So it's just how that game works, man. But to wrap it up, I really like this game. It is flawed. It's not a big budget game. It shows. The facial animations are kind of janky and weird looking at times, but it has a certain janky charm to it that I appreciate. You know, I don't need every video game I play to be pitch perfect, 10 out of 10. Like, wow, they threw in, you know, $1 billion budget into this game or something I'm playing. I don't need that for every game. I appreciate what they're doing here. Another thing, it's a minor thing, but I really enjoy it, and I threw it in this video too so you can see. When you start the game up, they have this VHS, old-ass 80s feeling intro for the different developers, like there's and the use of the Unreal Engine. I think Gun Media is one of the companies that made the game, and I forget what the third one is, but they each have their own like VHS 80s washed out videotape feeling intro, and all of those are fantastic. Where every time I start it, I'll actually sit and watch all 3 of those intros every time because I enjoy them that much. But it's not a 100% polished game. I do know at some point they're adding some sort of single player component to the game that'll be interesting, and it's a shame because I held out on buying this game for so long because I wanted a physical copy of it, because obviously, as you can see, I'm a physical copy guy. And the day after I bought this game, it happened to be on sale in the PlayStation Store, and I was like, I'm just going to do it because I really want to play this game. The day after, they announced that, hey, here's a physical copy, and of course it's coming out Friday the 13th, October 13th, 2017. That's really cool, and I encourage anybody that's on the fence, wait till that comes out and get the physical copy. I think there'll be a huge influx of players when the physical version comes out, but they did announce the other day that 1.8 million people have purchased this game, so there are a lot of people playing. The final negative aspect I will talk about this game is it relies on peer-to-peer networks, or essentially hosts for matches. It doesn't rely on dedicated servers. That is a big hindrance of this game. There's been several times I've gotten into matches where you get into a lobby, you wait forever, you go to start the match, and that person drops out and it just kills the connection for everybody. And that's a real disappointment. I got into one match yesterday where I was running around as camp counselor and I couldn't use my flashlight. And the minute that was starting, I was like, yep, this guy's quitting. Sure enough, the whole match got dumped. So that's a disappointing aspect of this game, but it hasn't been so bad that I regret buying the game or anything like that. It's come up a couple times. So, but Friday the 13th, I like what I've played of it thus far. I don't want to give it a full review or a score or a letter grade or anything like that because I haven't played nearly enough of it to do that. But I just kind of wanted to do a video about my impressions of it. I felt like, being a Friday the 13th fan, it would be real bad of me to not talk about the game that came out, because again, when do you get a Friday the 13th game? That never happens. So it's really good. If you're a fan of that franchise or horror games in general, you should check it out. You know, you can sit there and be like, I don't really like multiplayer games. I'm not a big multiplayer online guy anymore either. You know, I like Halo, I like a little bit of Call of Duty sometimes. That's about it. I really like this game, it's good. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time.